hey, Colleen, thanks for coming to our innovation day last month. It was great to see you again. It's been a little while, and
Yeah.
you brought the energy with you for sure. And we got a lot of good feedback from that session. I think that one took stole the show in a lot of ways.
Thank you. Well, I'm lucky to have good product to show. Everything that Hyland is working on, you and I even joked we've been in this business for so long that it feels like content is cool again.
Yeah.
And to have some really excited, like AI powered demos to showcase what Hyland is doing with content now made it a lot of fun. Plus, like just being back live and in person. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Content is cool. Danny and we did talk about this. I think we were due for some new innovation in our space. And so we've been partnered with Hyland for a long time. You've been with Hyland for a long time. For me, it was, 1996.
I know. We're old timers. I feel like we give ourselves away when we say how long we've been doing this. But you think of Hyland in our early days and, back when you first started with us as a partner, Hyland was this ECM pioneer. And just content itself and content management was cool. And, we have been driving automation in workflows and that was where the real ROI was. And now I've seen us, and certainly it's come to fruition these past couple of years, like transform into an AI powerhouse with those deep ECM roots. So we've kind of always been in the business of managing documents and automation. And now with AI, we're doing it better. AI is so good, it's scary. And what's possible now is unbelievable.
This is totally different right now. So you tell your presentation, the art of the possible, right? And I think the art of the possible and understanding the new Hyland.
Right.
So let's dive into that a little bit because it has been a big transformation. I mean, why is AI, why is all these transformations, why is that so important to Hyland right now? I mean, I think some of that's obvious, but I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah. I think it's, because AI is now able to do and accomplish what no human ever could. And I'm not talking about replacing humans. I'm talking about equipping them with the ability to make better, stronger, faster decisions. AI thrives on data. We are in the business of managing data, documents, decisions, processes. And you think of an OnBase customer, let's say, who has decades of documents and decisions in their repository, sifting through all of that as a human to make a decision. It's just not possible. But now we have AI to help to sift through vast amounts of data, give summarizations, insights, make decisions. I think we're also seeing in our industry, like a lot of the terminology change. It's not capture, it's intelligent document processing. It's not search results. It's insightful answers. It's not workflow, it's intelligent automation, all powered by these brilliant, LLMs that drive AI.
I think one thing you said there that I think is really worth underscoring a lot. But one thing that stands out to me is, we can ask questions of this very difficult to understand, complex to analyze data, right? All the most unstructured data, contracts, leases, all this stuff that's really text heavy and hard to find answers, right? And especially at scale, we could ask some pretty complex questions and get answers in a matter of a few seconds, things that we would normally either give up on, 1% of the way through, or maybe get it wrong, or something wouldn't go well if we were trying to do that just through brute force, right? So being able to go through those, I think you said decades and decades of information, terabytes of information, it just wasn't practical, right?
No.
So we would create an ECM system, we put information in it, and it would kind of go there to just rest and live its lifespan out, right? But we wouldn't necessarily analyze any of it, right?
I was going to say, it really is like this just, profound transformation, like reshaping the way that work gets done. And, you and I probably could go on all day with different examples of like full text search, finding a word or phrase. Now we're doing so much more beyond that with contextual and semantic awareness. I could go on. It's super cool.
It's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the different components that Hyland's been working on, because I think that they're definitely exciting, definitely innovative. Let's maybe start with knowledge discovery. Let's talk a little bit about what that means, what that's doing, what that can actually help your customers do. And I think, especially from the context of our mutual OnBase clients that have been using OnBase for a long period of time, looking for that innovation, trying to understand how that fits in their world, especially if they're on-prem or in the Hyland cloud or a different hosting context. Like, how do they take advantage of it? What is it and how do they take advantage? What do they need to do to get there?
Yeah, I think I'd start with the broader umbrella, which is Hyland's Content Innovation Cloud, of which knowledge discovery, IDP, Automate, et cetera, are all kind of products within. The Content Innovation Cloud is a cloud native platform, right, for intelligent automation solutions, allowing organizations to be more innovative, unlocking the full potential of their content. It's thinking well beyond the chatbot and generative AI, but using all of the content in Hyland's, and then here's the key, other repositories as well to unlock these insights. So when I think of our shared OnBase customer, the one myth that I want to dispel is that OnBase is over here and the CIC is over there. That could not be further from the truth. The CIC was architected and built, CIC Content Innovation Cloud, with OnBase customers in mind. Like, nobody knows content, and certainly not our own repositories, better than Hyland. And so we are simply building an AI-powered layer to tap in to the gold mine that is all of the work that has the treasure trove, right, of content in an OnBase system. Yeah, and make more sense of it. So it's cloud native, it's AI driven, and it's orchestration across multiple repositories. So if we dive into knowledge discovery, this is like our federated enterprise search tool. We're able to search OnBase content or content from OnBase that's made available for search, as well as SharePoint, as well as other repositories, ask a question in natural human language and get insightful answers. So to contrast that with what we have known as search in the past, I had to know what was the document type, what are the keywords, what is the date range that I'm looking for, and I had to know the syntax or the lexicon of not just OnBase, but any type of system like that that I might be searching. Now I can act as a real human. Like, what are the steps I need to take to close an account? And it's not just looking for the word close an account in a document, but it's sifting through all of the policies regarding account closure and giving me step-by-step instructions. It's really transformative in the way we're able to aid an employee now to do their jobs better, smarter, faster.
And as much as we were pushing, years ago to have all the information in one repository, we know that's not the case. So that's why you made this a federated solution. And I think the stat you were referencing the other day was, on average, there's 20, 25 content repositories in an enterprise. So as much as people like to think they've got that unified and organized well, chances are the business units, departments, acquisitions, whatever it might be, they have other repositories.
Right. They have other systems.
They're using too, right?
Right. I mean, of course, the dream of one repository, like that would have been an incredible reality. I still dream of having like one place for my calendar and all the different things I've got in my life, right? In my personal life. But then that's where OnBase got its name, the one repository feel. But it just was never reality, whether it was like just individual siloed departments pulling up systems, IT departments. Content lives in a myriad of places: SharePoint, Google Drive, Box, just to name a few, in addition to other content systems. And now we see ourselves as kind of the orchestration layer of the content in all these systems.
So that's a solution for content that's at rest and it's been stored. We still have a ton of content coming in the door every day, right? Invoices, health records, claims, whatever it might be. Everything is still arriving to us in the form of documents. Talk to me about your new IDP solution. I mean, Hyland's been down the road with OCR tools and different, whether it's acquisitions or different attempts at that down the road. This one feels different. What is different?
It feels way different. It's more than just a vibe. It is different. And I laugh when you talk about all the different types of content coming from different places, right? Like some of those tried and true methods are still alive and well. Absolutely. But our intelligent document processing is AI powered, to use the old terminology, capture, right? It's agentic document classification, separation, and extraction. It's all cloud native. It can receive content from anywhere, and it can send this newly structured content. What has really, and it's not just math. It's not just magic. It's mathematics that is doing this, the AI. What I've really seen it do well is, in the old days, we'd have to say, look for this to know it's an invoice. Look in this corner, or build a template to tell the capture tool how to identify an invoice from a packing slip from a contract. Now, all we have to do is say, separate my invoices from my packing slips from my contracts. And the brain, the LLM of these agents that are doing this work are so smart. They don't need a template. They don't need to be told what the document looks like. They don't need to be trained on your documents. And they're able to identify what they are, separate multi-page files into individual documents.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, we saw that the other day too. It's even suggesting things that you might want to capture based on its understanding of that taxonomy of a document.
Correct.
Right? So you think about the engineering work that goes in the discovery and the interrogation of business folks, right? What do you want to capture on this record and all that? And invariably that always goes with always ends up with something missing, right? Well, we should have captured this. I wish we would have captured this a year ago. And this is suggesting here are the important things you probably do want to capture on this. And I imagine that's providing not only good basis of initial understanding of the document, but also probably best practices, other important information that might be on there that you're not thinking about when you're first launching into this journey.
Yeah. Cool. And it's a combination of a few things, right? Like how does it know what to capture? One, it's like the LLM itself, right, already knows and has some basis of understanding. It's also contextually aware of the document that it's looking at, saying, well, I know invoices typically have these 5 things, but I see 2 more on here that might be relevant. Let me suggest those to you. And then also, as this evolves, we'll begin to package these. We're already doing it for healthcare, where it will have some industry specific tools and knowledge and policies that it can use to then, make it even smarter. And so as an evolution of our IDP, we're going to be releasing here in the fall, intelligent correspondence for healthcare. So think like a healthcare, billings office that's receiving all kinds of mail from attorneys, insurers, patients, and they've got to separate and classify all of this. And, so the solutions and the way we're going to be able to aid users in various roles is really, it's like leapfrogging.
One of the things that I get excited about is the translation side of things, right? So being able to deal with things, not only just coming in different languages where maybe you don't need that expertise in XYZ language, but even going from one language to the next, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a really incredible thing too. So I think you guys have built that into the technology as well, correct?
Yeah, it's multimodal, multi-language, meaning doesn't matter the file format, doesn't matter the language that it's been written in or the language that we're capturing in, doesn't matter the language of the document or the language that the user speaks to ask the question. We're doing translations both on the capture side as well as on the search side. And you think about that just in terms of the public constituent self-service. They're going to different vehicles to serve themselves, and your constituent or your customer base doesn't all speak the same language. Being able to do that translation, now that extends to your employees as well. So it's really cool to see. So you think like accessibility, better self-service. I think AI is ripe in making these tools more accessible. I think we'll even start to see some voice type tools.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to help us not only on the global business side, but consumer facing applications and things where you've got people coming in and you interact in multiple languages, again, without that native human expertise that you might have needed prior to this.
I mean, to give you some measurable outcomes, we have the traditional kind of bread and butter use case that we as Highlanders and OnBase fans and fanatics know and love, but it's multi-language document handling. It's extracting specific fields in multiple languages. It's handling variances in naming fields like customer ID versus account ID. It's extracting table data. I mean, we know how challenging that was in the past, all those line item details, foreign currencies, and they're seeing like 94% extraction and really impressed in, in the way they've used it so far. And this is a tool, when you think about it, that has just come to the market in less than a year. So not only is AI shaping better solutions, but it's allowing us as developers and your team as solution builders to even bring solutions to market quicker.
So that's actually interesting because the feedback I get a lot is what's out there in use right now, what at least great amount of technologies that are coming out in development, what's actually been released, what's actually in use. But can you maybe walk us through a little bit what's out there right now? If you got more case studies or use case for people, so it sounds like that was a live action, live situation. So if you have more of those, you can share with us too.
I'd love to. Yeah, just to kind of level set with what products are in market and which are coming. In our CIC family, we have released Automate. That is our kind of low code business process orchestration engine. Think of it like a workflow, except it's sitting a layer above and can communicate across multiple systems and make connections, not just with Hyland repositories, but with any RESTful service. We've also released our intelligent document processing. So our capture, our IDP that I just talked about. And I can tell you, getting up in front of many audiences, this is the one that always gets the standing ovation. Like the problems of templates and having to say, train it and look for invoice number, invoice pound is like all been gone. I mean, I even had a customer at your event come up to me afterwards and was like, I wish I'd known about this like 3 years ago. And I'm like, well, it wasn't available 3 years ago. So you made the right call at the time, but just how transformative this technology is. Knowledge discovery. So the federated insightful search capability has been released. And we have a customer using that similarly to the situation that I described. They have knowledge discovery pointing at all of the policies within their organization. And then when an employee has a question, what are the next steps? What should I do in this case?
Yeah.
How do I handle this objection from a customer? It's almost like they've got this coach right there sitting next to them that they can ask those questions, get an answer. And it's not just looking for words or phrases, but is giving them step-by-step instructions, and they're able to have a conversation back and forth. We also have a couple other customers exploring, looking, using it, just to search the vastness of content that they have. Like, let me search all of my records that maybe are under or poorly indexed and start to use this tool to glean insights from content like that.
I think that's actually one thing, and not to go off course here, but maybe a little bit. There's one thing that people need to understand about that type of agentic searching and AI. The proper term there is retrieval augmented generation, right? In a lot of ways, knowledge discovery is how Hyland is phrasing that. I get the question a lot in terms of why is that different than, what can I do with ChatGPT, for instance, as one LLM that I can do with a solution like this, right? And, how do I know? And then to follow that up, how do I know it's going to be a right answer, right? And if that it is these engines, your engine is grounded on your customer's data.
Exactly.
And it's getting its source of information from the customer's data, as opposed to the wide variety of information, good and bad. It's going to give you right answers. As long as your data is correct, it's going to give you right answers. So that kind of leads me into my next theme here. I think we should talk about is just getting prepared for launching solutions like this. If you're a customer with an OnBase repository or any other repository for that matter, what are the preparation steps that you need to do to get ready for this? Like, what do you need to think about from a data standpoint? Your data, data preparation, is your data accurate? Is it conflicting? All of those things. But what are you seeing people go through to do some of that right now?
Yeah. I think while we know, right, that AI is certainly the next technological frontier, in the eyes of a lot of humans, like, it's still a little bit unknown. There's still a little bit uncertain. So I think that the top piece of advice is that transparency builds trust. And I mean that in a few ways. The first is, if you want your teams to embrace AI, you need to explain why and how it's changing and why this change is going to be of benefit for them. But also, we need to prove that the AI is making sound decisions. And so you as an organization need to have AI guardrails in place that will allow you to address things like AI bias, fairness, privacy, transparency, explainability, right? So those guardrails need to be in place to ensure that those things are sound, while at the same time fostering innovation and building trust with your employee and your customer. And I think that's where a lot of customers are still figuring things out. I can give you some good examples of customers that have started on this journey. They've started to build an AI policy for their organization. In what business processes can AI be part of? Where are we not ready? Where do we need a human in the loop? Where do we trust AI to make a decision? What types of data are we willing to feed AI models? And, where is AI acceptable within our organization and where is it not? But I keep circling back to that transparency builds trust. We want to tell the employees why AI is of their benefit and how it's going to better them. And then also we want to prove that the decisions our AI agents, let's say, are making are sound, that they're right.
Yeah. So these proof of concepts become really important, right? Pick a function, pick a use case, pick something so that we can dive into an uncomplicated set of data, make sure we understand how to make those decisions and doing the right thing. Yeah.
I think the old line of test again, test, that still remains true, right?
From that.
You still have to test, you still got to prove it. And then of course, the last bit of that is just general AI readiness in terms of your data, right? So it's not just what repositories are these agents going to have access to, but garbage in, garbage out. What does the data in those systems look like? Where do I want to take subsets of data and maybe even curate that data and that document to make it more meaningful for AI? Where do I want to scrub it and delete some data that is not relevant or that is, under indexed or not prepared for some of these AI models? Because just like anything, the better the data, the better the answer and the output is going to be.
Never been more true than it is right now, for sure.
I think the customer organizations or organizations in our shared family here that really are going to succeed at this, they're already building for the next frontier. They know that AI is the future and they're willing to start playing with it and experimenting and practicing and playing with some of these tools and bringing them into the fold of their existing solutions. There's a lot of easy ways to build an agent, to create an assistant, to enable a user with some additional search, to make your capture process that much better. Are real easy, low-hanging fruit to better existing solutions as you start thinking about the future.
Absolutely. And we're never seeing more than even like the last, quarter or so. And never see more and more inquiries coming in about how to get ready for this. What kind of POCs can we be doing together? I'm going to talk to my board. We just talked about that today with the group. Coming to talk to my board. You can get my board prepared for this so that they can get behind it. Things of that nature. So it's definitely the pace of this is really increasing. Sounds like things are really accelerated at Hyland, which is great.
Yeah.
I think your group is definitely understanding how valuable that data is now that we've been accumulating for customers for so long and have really just, it's really just been a landing spot for data in a lot of ways, right? It's on automation, but now we can do so much more with that information. So really exciting time. And so great work to you in Hyland. It's been fabulous to watch this journey. And we're excited to see where this goes. So one thing I would definitely want to call out to everybody, if you're interested in learning more, definitely reach out to DataBank. Let's understand how this can impact you and talk through some use case examples and share what we have been doing so far, where we can help you and excited to watch this move forward. Absolutely.
And we're going to blow up Las Vegas at the end of August. Right. So join DataBank in Hyland.
Yeah, and there's going to be just a little bit of this content in the Hyland agenda, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know your whole team will be there, all of the Hyland product and R&D team, all of our leaders. I think in the best way, it's going to feel like a whole new company. And I think that's a good thing. I'm constantly reminded of my favorite quote from Muhammad Ali, which is like, the man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. And so it feels good that we're evolving and changing and growing. And, we're an AI powerhouse now, and it feels pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for the time, Colleen. It was great to see you. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Matt. Thanks to everybody at DataBank.